Israeli operatives have been spying on US forces who were stationed in Israel, and that's according to sources who spoke to The Guardian. Now, the spying got so out of hand, so out of control, that it got to a point where US commanders had to essentially confront the Israelis and tell them to knock it off. Cenk, your 2 cents?
Yeah, I don't want to spoil the beans, as my daughter says, but you're going to be shocked to find out there were no consequences, because we are Israel's bitch. And this story will be among the 100 stories we've covered that prove it without any shadow of a doubt.
In fact, if you might think that it's egregious, it's ridiculous to claim that such a close and special ally of the United States would be spying on us or spying on our troops, I just want to give you a little piece of video here. This was an interview that was done on Patrick Bet-David's show with a former CIA agent who became a whistleblower. And here's what he had to say about his experience with the Israelis when he was in the CIA.
We don't allow the Israelis into CIA headquarters because they would always come with gifts, and the gifts had always listening devices packed inside them. And somebody brings you a gift, you x-ray it. It's the normal process. And we're like, you guys can't keep coming back here every single time trying to bug our conference rooms. So no more. So,
and was it easy to x-ray and see that they had bugs in them?
Yeah.
What percentage of the time did gifts have bugs in them?
100%.
Be quiet.
No, seriously.
Are you kidding me?
Absolutely not. I wish I was.
100% of the time they brought gifts that had bugs in them.
Yeah. And we're like, okay, no more. You can't come on campus anymore.
Will you guys joke about it with them? You're like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What is this?
So
was it like a joke?
Come on, you guys. No, they were serious. They were hoping one would slip through.
John, was that across the board with everybody that didn't trust them the most?
Oh, yeah.
What percentage of guys you work with didn't trust Mossad?
100%.
Just some interesting context for you to absorb as I give you the details of what we've just learned. So look, the spying that is now making news took place at a US base that's known as the Civil Military Coordination Center, or CMCC. So it's located in southern Israel, and the soldiers are specifically stationed there to monitor the so-called ceasefire. That's not really a ceasefire. I mean, over 300 Palestinians have been slaughtered by the Israelis since the ceasefire took effect. But nonetheless, they're not just monitoring the ceasefire. They're also trying to find a way to fully implement Trump's alleged peace deal, the 20-point plan, if you will. And there is one thing they've been doing that's actually been helpful, according to what the experts are saying. So one group is excluded from some of this planning, by the way, when it comes to the 20-point plan and implementing that. And unsurprisingly, that's the Palestinians. Efforts to bring Palestinians into talks through video calls were repeatedly cut off by Israeli officials. Sources involved in or briefed on discussions say. That should be very unsurprising if you've been paying close attention to this story, and if you've been basically disregarding propaganda coming from the Israeli side. Now, The Guardian reported that the logistics experts were among the US soldiers stationed at the base, and they were tasked with figuring out the best way to get more humanitarian aid into Gaza. But those experts quickly realized that one of their biggest obstacles happens to be Israel, which keeps barring or blocking legitimate humanitarian aid, claiming that it's a dual use item, meaning that it could be used for, military activities. So diplomats find that the CMCC is important in convincing the Israelis to modify their lists of barred or banned supplies entering Gaza. And so that's good news. And by the way, some of the things that they try to bar includes things like tent poles, which, when you consider that upward of like 93% of the residential buildings have been completely demolished, tents are kind of important. You need some form of shelter, but Israelis try to ban that from going into the enclave. They also try to ban chemicals needed for water purification so people can have clean drinking water. Now, the Israeli government still refuses to allow certain foods in certain goods in, like, let's say, paper, pencils, stuff like that. But back to the spying angle of this story. As we mentioned earlier, Israeli operatives have been spying on the American troops working over at the CMCC. The scale of intelligence gathering prompted the US commander of the base, Lieutenant General Patrick Frank, to summon an Israeli counterpart for a meeting to tell him that recording has to stop here. Now, some of Israel's other allies, including the UK, have forces at the CMCC as well. the Israelis reportedly spied on them as well, because of course they did. When asked for comment, the IDF stated, quote, "The claim that the IDF is gathering intelligence on its partners in meetings, which the IDF is an active participant, is absurd." And that was it. That was the extent of their denials, which to me amounts to nothing. I think they will continue spying. And you're right, Cenk. I mean, if there aren't any consequences for it, why would they stop?
Yeah, they own us. So they're like, "Oh, look at this funny general thinking that he's the boss of us. Now shut up, give me $300 billion and know your role. Sit there and let me spy on you." What are you gonna do about it, General? What are you gonna do? The answer is nothing, because your politicians work for us, Israel. So there's nothing you could do. We can spy on you all day long. In fact, the last time not the last time they spy on us 24/7, they're the world's worst ally. I think they're an enemy posing as an ally, and that's why they constantly spy on us. They stole our nuclear secrets. Do you know how dangerous that is for a rogue nation that doesn't follow any international law, that we just saw with our own eyes committed genocide, and that thinks that they're constantly in mortal danger and they have to murder everyone around them to make sure that they do self-defense? They have a nuke now because one of our own betrayed us, sold us out, and gave that information to Israel. And the American press treated it as like, oh, it's totally normal. That's normal. Today, by the way, he was eventually pardoned by a combination of Obama and Trump. Yeah, the Democratic and a Republican president, both helping a traitor to this country. That's normal. They tell us it's normal, right? And then he was flown out in a private jet by Sheldon Adelson, Trump's #1 donor, who demands that he work for Israel. And Trump says out loud, yes, I moved the embassy and changed American foreign policy on behalf of Sheldon Adelson, and he pardoned a traitor on behalf of Sheldon Adelson. But if you say things that are factually true, our press gets so mad because they're like, you're supposed to do pro-Israel propaganda. In fact, CBS Evening News now is going to be led by Tony Dokapil. He's the clown that challenged Ta-Nehisi Coates and is the most pro-Israel anchor in all of CBS. And Barry Weiss, of course, made him the lead anchor at CBS. But if you point that out, they're like, you're not allowed to say it. You're not allowed to say it. Well, we're saying it, we're shouting it from the rooftops. Our politicians are completely corrupt. They all work for Israel. When Israel betrays us and spies on us, they go, thank you, sir, may we please have another. Please betray the American voters. I don't care about them at all, as long as you bribe me and as long as the check clears. And besides which, I got air cover because all of cable news and all of mainstream media is going to pretend that the people pointing out the bribery, the people pointing out the treachery and the spying are the bad guys filled with hate. And the people doing the treachery and the genocide and the robbery are the good guys who should never, ever be questioned. Now, look, guys, it's a simple thing. Today in social media, we talk about this. And of course, all the Israel First accounts go, so what? So what? Everybody spies on everybody, so what? It's totally normal. It's normal. You should know your role, that we get to spy on you and there's nothing you could do about it. You stupid Americans, you work for Israel and you have to accept that that's the new normal. It's not normal for a country to give another country $300 billion and have that country betray them over and over and over again. That is not anywhere near normal. The only reason why anybody might think that is because almost all of traditional legacy media in this country works for Israel enthusiastically and tries to eliminate anyone with a legitimate criticism of Israel, tries to ruin their careers and destroy them on behalf of a foreign country. We don't run America anymore. Israel runs America. This is just another example of them rubbing it in our face. We'll spy on you. There's nothing you can do about it. And then we'll get your sellouts in the press to tell you that it's perfectly normal. It's not anywhere near normal. And we're a servant state of Israel. And if you think I'm obsessed by it, you're absolutely right. I didn't come to America to be anybody's servant.
You know, I can wear almost any dress I want in Israel. So maybe we should be okay with them spying on us.
Yeah, yep. Well, that's why they should spy on us. That's why you should all work another shift and another shift and send all that money to Israel because you owe them and you haven't given them enough. Maybe they should get a second genocide and maybe they should steal the rest of Gaza and all of the West Bank. Right now in the Trump peace deal, they say you are not allowed to annex the West Bank. And Israel just said today, like, shut up. Who do you think you are? Give me the goddamn money and I'll annex the West Bank and you'll say nothing about it. And our representatives, as usual, said, I'm so sorry, sir. Of course, sir. Of course, I serve Israel loyally, sir. That's what's happening in this country, 1,000,000,000%. Anyone else telling you otherwise works for Israel, and they're doing propaganda, and it isn't anywhere near factual. They're a bunch of spies, they're a bunch of traitors, and they're betraying this country over and over again for the country that they actually serve, Israel.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.